What's going on, guys? So I kind of want to do a quick little video. This video is for Drake in Discord. You had a question about how to play the low of day breaks, right? So low of day can mean anything as the trading day goes on. And for example, a day like today where we consistently are putting in these lower lows, there's going to be a new low of day every hour, every 30 minutes. So currently right now, looking at the NASDAQ futures, the current low of day is 13,096. If you were looking to scalp the low of day, we're looking for it to get down to the 13,096. We're looking for it to break that level. And you can play it one of two ways. You can get in on the first entry on the break of 13,096, and you can play it very, very tight to the vest. As long as we stay below that area, you're going to ride your scalp position, take those quick profits. If you're looking for a little bit more of a continuation play through the low of day, what you would want to see is the low of day be broken, and then on the 5-minute time frame, a close below that price, and then a preceding candle or a following candle, right, to kind of take out that new low. That's going to be your entry, and then you're going to short that low of day. Or if you were playing vice versa, high of day break would be the same thing. So when I'm looking at low of day breaks, because realistically, I like to try to trade within the first 1 to 3 hours of the market. That's where I feel like that the bread and butter can be made in the market. I definitely like to hold off on the first 5 to 20 minutes of the market just to kind of give myself a little bit more data. The way that I have my chart set up, every hour candle for me, I'm paying very, very close attention to. So on my charts, and I use Thinkorswim platform, on my charts, my hour candle is going to close at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're on East Coast, that's going to be your 10 a.m. candle, right? I am including pre-market and after hours data into my candles. So on Thinkorswim, my first hour candle of the day is going to start between 6 and 7 a.m. So if you're on Eastern Standard Time, that's going to be your 9 a.m. candle and close at 10 a.m. So the reason being is I like to include that first 30 minutes, right? I like to keep it nice and easy and include that first 30 minutes of pre-market data into my hour candle. With that being said, once the first 30 minutes of the market passes and it's now 7 a.m., that 7 a.m. candle, right, which is going to be 10 a.m. for Eastern Standard Time, that 10 a.m. standard candle close is going to be your low of day, right? So what we're doing is we're taking the first 30 minutes of the market open. We're letting the market do its thing. So if we kind of look at my chart here, if we look at this candle here at 6:55, this candle, and let me just pull up my drawing tool, this candle here that I drew a line through, this is 6:55. So this is 25 minutes after the market has opened, and this candle is going to close at 7 a.m. This next red candle here is going to be my 7 a.m. candle. And if we kind of look to the hourly chart, okay, and just kind of show you guys what this looks like here. If we look at this candle here, okay, if we look at this candle here, this is the first hour's candle. This candle is going to include from 6 a.m., okay, all the way down to 7 a.m., okay? So there's a couple of ways that people like to scalp. Some people like to scalp this pre-market low, right? You could definitely take part in the pre-market low, but just understand that that trade is probably going to come from the opening bell to the first 30 minutes after the market's open. Make sure that if you do get a move within that time frame that you do take profits, because this move can do something like this, boom, really, really quickly. So if we're talking about the first hour's low, well, that's going to be this candle, and this candle being from 6 a.m. my time, which is including 30 minutes of the pre-market data, and the first 30 minutes of the market open, that candle's going to close here. So for me, my low of day break that I love to scalp and love to trade is the first hour's highs or the first hour's lows, and that's going to be your opening range highs, your opening range lows, right? So this number can change. It's going to be different on a day-to-day basis. Some people like to call it opening range break. Some people like to call it, the low of day. Low of day is just going to be a continuation as you make a new low of day, right? The number is going to change. So you can definitely take part in those trades every time it breaks a new low of day. Definitely what I would be looking for here on the low of days is not using the 5-minute time frame to find your low of day, right? So for example, let's say that this first 5-minute candle of the day puts in a low. Oh, let me just use my drawing tool. First 5 minutes of the candle puts in a low of day here, right? Can you short this position? Yes. Is that called a low of day break? Yes, on a 5-minute time frame. Can you short this candle here and call this a low of day break? Yes, on a 5-minute candle, right? Can you short this candle and call this a low of day break? Absolutely. It's all just verbiage that we're using here. So a low of day just means that if the stock is continuing to make lows of days, and you're taking those opportunities to scalp that, well, then you're going to have to use the current 5-minute time frame or whatever time frame candle you're looking at to kind of enter and exit those trades. Now, when you are taking quick scalps on low of day breaks, right? For example, if you're taking this low of day break here, as soon as this candle breaks, what's your stop loss? Well, the rule of thumb is the low of day break candle, or whichever candle you're shorting, the highs. So this extended candle is very extended. If I get in here and it snaps back, I have to literally technically wait for it to close above it before I can close my stop loss, right? A smaller body candle like this is a little bit better. We're going to use the previous wick as our high. We're going to get in on this candle and we're going to scalp, and we're going to use this as a risk. But just know, if you're trading futures, this could be a big risk for you, right? So we're not realistically looking to let this thing kind of, go against us too much. We want to get in and make sure that the move is pretty self-sufficient there. With that being said, we definitely want to keep an eye on the hour candles lows. So if that was a little confusing, just go back and watch this video again. But the way that I set up my initial low of day is the first 30 minutes, right? So once the market opens at 9:30 at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, that's my initial low of day. That's my opening range break. If we break that initial low, I'm going to take that short position. Now, if we continuously put in new lows, can you short those? Yes, but you're going to need some sort of bounce, right? You need some sort of bounce and new setup to come through the lows. Like, let's look at MNQ or NQ now, right? Initial flush. Here's my initial opening range break. Here's the low of day scalp that you want to take. Now, here's another low of day break, but this can stop anywhere, because once you have that first break, everything else becomes continuation. So it's not necessarily like an opening range break anymore. It's just a continuation play. And understand that, like a candle like this, yes, if you take the short position here, you can make some money on this, but the snapback, if it does snap back, it does have room all the way back up here to at least the middle or the top of the range of that. That's a lot of risk. So the farther we get down from the initial opening range break, the farther this kind of travels, and it makes it a lot harder to take part of those positions. Now, what I like to do for later on in the day, those opening range breaks, I like the initial flush. And then when we've been trading sideways for some time, like we have now, and we just broke low of day. So what I like is get a good washout. And then towards the end of the day, I like to see at least some sort of price action hold. If the price action can hold and it creates a line in the sand, right? Like this line in the sand, this low of day break is something that I would like to take. And I did take it on the Triple Qs ETF, and I took some options right now. But with that being said, let's look at this break on a 5-minute time frame. So we can see the initial washout today. Here was our first short scalp. We could have scalped this. Here's the hour, the 7 a.m. candle lows, right? So we could have taken this. This is your low of day break. And then we came down here, we set in a low. I like to put my price level there, 13,096. We bounced, we chopped around a little bit. We tried to make an attempt. Here was a 20 SMA play to the long side. Then we flushed. Here was a 20 SMA play to the downside. And then we bounced. Here was a 20 SMA play to the long side. And look at this last 20 SMA play, right? Here's your flush below the 20. Here's your confirmation. That's a scalp. I teach that in Discord. Obviously, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you guys can join the Discord, kind of go through my study guides and see. But if we're talking about simply low of day breaks, We'll look at the 13096. Since I've been making this video, since the beginning of the video till now, this actually confirmed, and we got this low of day break here. This low of day break you would want to take all the time, 9 times out of 10, just due to the fact that look how much price action was in this zone. We held, and when we get this break here, we want to make sure to take this break with full confidence, and you want to scalp the first move. Make sure you take profits. Now, obviously, if this bounces here and we close over, you're going to want to exit that position, but always make sure you're taking profits on the first flush here. If you do hold a runner, your runner is allowed to bounce until the break spot, and then it needs to reject that break spot and it needs to come back down in any new low of day break, right? So here becomes our new low of day. Any bounce and rejection and flush through the new low of day is just called a continuation at that time. So this is now just a continuation of the low of day break. I hope that kind of helps. If it doesn't, ask me some questions in Discord. Go through this video a couple of times. And then with that all being said, I'll see you guys on the next one.